There was increasing concern in the Truro area about the number of homeless men in particular, but occasionally also homeless women. And the church was experiencing considerable pressures. And so a group of us got together, and Bishop Peter Mumford, whose social chaplain was Michael Palmer, encouraged a group to form. So that's how it all started in about the mid-80s. And it grew from there with an enormous amount of effort, which was actually frustrated because house prices were going up almost by the day, almost as bad as in today's conditions. So house after house was found, and every time somebody else managed to pip us at the post. And Bishop Peter asked me if I would become involved. So he and I wrote a joint letter to 12 people in the county who were involved in church life, who we knew could afford to make a loan. And within 24 hours, 8 of them said yes. And within another 24 hours, all the others said yes. So that gave us £60,000 with which we knew we could safely back a loan. And we were able to buy Alexander Terrace, which opened its doors in February 1988.
Before there was ever a house, I was involved with St Petrocs. It's ages ago now, but that was the start, and it was such an achievement to actually be able to buy a house. Somebody had given us the money to put down for the deposit, and we were able to buy this house. And I think, to me, that is the one thing that stands out. There's lots of other things that have happened, but that's the thing, because that was the step on the way. Before that happened, we weren't making any headway at all. So when that happened, that was absolutely wonderful.
I do remember going to the opening of the first Newquay house, and Lord St Leaven was there, and meeting all the residents as well. And it was just such an optimistic day. and the residents who were there were so pleased to be where they were. Ranging from 17, that made a big impression on me, a 17-year-old, when I'd got 17 and 18-year-old children, and up to about 60, the age group.
And we then had to find a chair, a new chief officer. Shirley Matheson knew of Steve because he already worked for in a part-time capacity. But we obviously had to advertise broadly, and I advertised, and we got a number of replies, about 40 or 50, I suppose. And I shortlisted it down eventually to 3. And we took up references for these 3 people, including Steve. There were very good references for him from Liverpool, where he worked. And we did indeed give him a very thorough series of questions, which he dealt with exceptionally well. And there was no doubt at the end of the day that he was our man. So we appointed Steve, and that was a really outstanding achievement. But St Petrocs would survive however it was, but the better the conditions for staff, the better they can do their job. And they just weren't able to do their job properly in that deplorable place. And when we moved across the City Road, with Steve now the newly appointed chief officer, it gave a colossal boost to the work of the society. And that sticks in my mind as probably the greatest change.
Probably the most striking one most recently was when Steve and I went to Redline at St Petrocs, and this was 18 months or more ago, and a woman turned up with a small suitcase. And she was just dealt with. She came in, cup of tea. No party with the conversation, obviously. And she was fixed up with accommodation within half an hour, phone calls here and there. I think even arranged then for a medical appointment for later in the week, and that was all done in an hour and a half by the young woman who was on duty. And I just thought, well, that kind of shows the level of competence that's very attractive. And obviously, this young woman had nowhere to go that night. It was a Friday night in December in Penzance, and that's where she went. And it was good to see it.
St Petrocs' job is inevitably extremely complex and challenging, and at times there doesn't seem an easy answer. But within St Petrocs, on the staff and amongst the Board of Governors, there's an amazing range of skills, and if you are worried, then you should ask, and somebody will have a suitable answer.
I think it means one of the most satisfying things that I've been involved in, and I think the ecumenical character of the movement, which is really what St Petrocs now is, has been its mainstay. People working together in a concerted way.
Well, it means a fantastic organisation who are really thoughtful and caring, and who do the most fantastic job throughout Cornwall.
Apart from my family and immediate friends and that kind of thing, it's the best thing I've ever been associated with.
So I think St Petrocs is a wonderful example of us looking out for other people, and so that's what it means to me. I think it's wonderful because it's moved on, and it's not just provided a bed for people. It's helped people. It's been alongside them in the initial situation, and it's been alongside them and helped them, and then it's helped them on their way. It's helped them into the future, take a step into the on the way, and then they've moved on, and then other people have come to be in the houses. I think it's quite amazing.